listening for another sound. It was impossible to see any distance through the crowded grave markers, crypts, and mausoleums, but from what I could make out, the light and sound had come from behind me, deep within the cemetery. Had they already gotten in? We had the entrances covered. 2 CIC agents were at the Rue des Rondeaux gate, 30 yards in the other direction. Our source had said that they'd used that entrance, but I guess his dope didn't extend to their arrival time. I took off a glove and unholstered my Colt, stepping over graves and catching the slightest of sounds, probably much like the noise I was making. I stopped beside a tree, about halfway to Kaz's location. I edged around the trunk and saw a mausoleum, not 6 feet in front of me. The thick wooden door was open. They'd been inside the cemetery all night, before we got here. Patient bastards. I heard the clink of metal on wood, the sound of tools being carried. I followed the sound, which was headed for Kaz's position. There was no way our guys outside, or even the 2 agents at the gate had heard, and I could only hope Kaz had picked up on the clatter. The wind kicked up, swirling leaves again, and making enough noise for me to barrel around a couple of tombs and make my way to the path. That's when I saw them. 4 guys gathered around a flat gravestone. They were blurs, the darkness too complete to make an identification. Which was why we had CIC Special Agent Jerome Salinger with us. He'd interrogated a few men who were suspected of black market activities, but had been let go for lack of evidence. Later, they were found to have links to a syndicate run by an unknown character known only as the Fox. We were hoping the Fox would turn out to be one of the men Salinger had interrogated, or that one of his men could be convinced to turn against him. We wanted an identification badly. The Fox had been responsible for the assassination of a CIC agent who'd gotten too close, which is why we'd laid this trap. The syndicate might think they'd outweighted us, but we still had the place surrounded. I heard the brush of fabric against stone. A hand gripped my shoulder. "Billy," came the whisper. It was Kaz, light on his feet, and his Webley revolver at the ready. "They've been inside all along," I said softly, leaning close. "Yes. They failed to extinguish their light when they opened the mausoleum. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. What shall we do?" I knew Kaz would be up for a fight. The only question was how to make sure we won it. "Let's take them," I said. The scrape of stone on stone told us they'd gotten to work with a pry bar. "We could wait for them to remove whatever they're after," Kaz said. "Or grab them while they're busy with the stone," I said. "Good," he whispered. "Let us announce ourselves with a gunshot. That will bring the others running." I nodded and squeezed his arm. We stepped onto the path, each of us automatically keeping to one side, maximizing the space between us. The figures ahead and to the right hadn't noticed us yet, which told me they'd expected us to be gone, or that waiting for hours was their regular routine. A routine of extraordinary patience and caution. I didn't like it. But it was too late for second thoughts. Kaz raised his pistol as I leveled my automatic at the men clustered together over the grave. "Halt!" I shouted. Kaz fired, the discharge shattering the still night. 2 shots came at us, and we each dove for the cover of the nearest stonework. It looked like only one man had fired, probably a lookout who was at the ready. But the burst from a Sten gun announced they'd come loaded for bear. Or for us. I fired at the afterimage of the muzzle flash, then ducked as another burst slammed into the mausoleum. Kaz let off 2 more shots, and I backed up, taking cover behind a tree, as a gunman fired into the position I just vacated. I didn't have a clear shot at him, but as I scrambled between the graves, I realized these guys must be soldiers. Deserters, probably. But they knew how to outflank an opponent after keeping him pinned down. I got behind them and heard frantic shouts in French coming from farther down the path. More of them? Maybe. But I didn't have time to count.